Welcome back to another insightful episode of Starknet Espresso, where we dive into the builders, projects, and protocols shaping the ecosystem. I'm your host, Ju Peng. On this episode of Starknet Espresso, we sit down with Ju Peng, founder of Q3x, to explore how they are building a smarter, more collaborative way to manage your finances on Starknet. From wallet analytics and AI-powered transactions to multi-owner support and batch transactions, Q3x is redefining on-chain coordination for teams and power users. Let's dig.
Welcome to Starknet Espresso, Ju Peng. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Be here. Thanks, Suchi.
Yeah. So, without wasting much time, can you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about how you go into Web3?
I'm Ju Peng and also the founder of Q3x. Basically, I go into Web3 quite early. It's like 2021. That time, I'm still a year one student in university, and that's my first time who touch Solidity. But then later, I found it's a bit, I don't know. For me, that time was a bit boring, so I quit Web3 for like 2 years, and I just touched Web3 like 1 year ago. Then I'm not doing anything on Ethereum or EVM chains, but I'm kind of like directly jumping into the Starknet because of my team. My team is like very experienced Starknet users and also dev. We have kind of like a 4 years in Starknet developer, and we build anything. Like we also the core contributor of the Scaffold Stack, the tool the framework that onboard a lot of developers to Starknet, I believe. And also our team also built another framework. It's less famous, but it's called Scaffold Eve Stack, which is a framework that combines Scaffold Eve and Scaffold Stack that allow you to kind of like quick launch a project that can be run on EVM and also Starknet very easily. Like also there's some hooks for developers that without the need to know the behind what happening behind just a hook, and you can do it very easily. And we also used to build some on-chain games. It's a mobile based on Starknet also. And then now we build this Q3x.
The big picture is Q3x. I mean, I saw Kodawari was the one that posted about Q3x on X, and I found it very fascinating, all the features that she talked about, and I decided to, okay, let me jump in and see what this platform is all about. And to be honest, from now till then, I'm loving the platform. So for our audience that hasn't, come in contact with Q3x, can you introduce Q3x? What is Q3x all about?
Q3x is kind of like an account management platform that aims to help treasury management, because we are Starknet dev and Starknet have account abstraction. And the very initial reason why we build this is a very small thing, is that we found that we cannot do a batch transaction because we pay the employee on Starknet, and because of Bravos and Agent, so 2FA and 3FA, we send it one by one, and we do the 3FA every time, like one time, which can be done in a batch very easily because of the native account abstraction on Starknet. Then we found that there's no such tool, and we just want to build it ourselves. And then later, when times move, we found that just this is not enough, because of for us we are a small team. So for small team, everyone is kind of wearing multiple hats on us, like founder, managing, marketing. So the time is quite strict as a small team, and we found that we need such a tool to automate our payment financial stuff, because of we don't have a dedicated financial department like those big team. And in Web3, this kind of financial operation is more complicated compared to Web2. So because of lacking of this kind of thing, we move this Q3x to kind of more aiming to small teams and having kind of like automation for small teams, so that for founders like us, we can spend our time on what's really matter, instead of like spending 1 hour or 2 hours every month just for managing payment, make sure everything is working correctly. So now it moved to the Q3x, right, which is what we have right now. For now, it's still kind of like a MVP, but the idea was we want to provide a modular way. Yes, we aim to provide a modular functionality where, because for now we found that many teams they use different tools for different tasks, like maybe accounting, tax, and something else. They use from different platforms. So for us, we want to provide a modular way to provide this kind of features, but you can enable or disable it, or either like customize the parameter, depends on your team's need, because we believe that no two teams are the same, and apparently they will have different setups, so that this kind of modular way to define a setup for your teams on Starknet will be useful for our team at least. So, but just this is kind of like, when the module is going like increasing, it's gonna be complicated. Like maybe your team have 10 modules enabled, each module like can be combined with each other. It's gonna be complicated. So that's why we have the AI for simplicity, where you can just use natural language to automate some of the stuff, and also for simplicity. So what are these modules are? I can give you just an example. A very simple example is auto payment, which is we have right now. It's very simple. Just every independent modules are very simple logic, but when they combine together, they become kind of like a very powerful tool for your team. So let's say the auto payment module that we released, I think this week or last week. It's just simple. Just specify the recipient, specify the token address, the time you want to pay, and also the amount. That's it. That's just one module. So later, when we carry out more module, let's say whitelist and spending limit, you can combine them together. So whitelist with auto payment, you ensure that this auto payment wouldn't like send money to someone else which is not in the whitelist. It's just very simple combination. Like you can even combine with spending limit, and then when three of them playing together, it become a new solution for your team. So these are just three very simple examples that maybe you can think more. It depends on the teams and the users' need. We can carry out more and more and more modules that slowly it can become a unique solution for your team. So the AI system is simple. I saw you use it also to do a swap.
True.
Yeah. Later, you can also use the AI assistant to configure this thing for you. Like, let's say you have been using Q3x for a very long time. You know that everything module is working. You know how everything modules combine correctly and how of them working each other, because you combine them. So if one day I'm lazy now, like I know everything correct, I want to remove one guy from my auto payment. I don't want to go through that setting page, find the guy, remove it. I can just go to AI assistant, remove maybe Andrew from my auto payment, and give you the transaction, you sign it, that's it. So this kind of AI assistant is have like providing efficiency and simplicity. And then later you will find that we also provide some utility tools, like allow you to do some batch transaction, checking your income and expenses, address book, which is kind of like a side feature to give you a better user experience. That's how Q3x work for now.
So I think one of the things I find fascinating about it, because I've relatively used the platform extensively, and I think one of the things that caught my eyes initially once I opened the website was the idea of having, what would you say, my transactions for the past few days up on my screen. So it kind of like tells me, okay, this is what you've done in the past couple of days, maybe weeks, depending on how you set it. So that overview, that wallet overview, is something I find very attractive. Something else I find also very attractive is the AI part of it, because I was looking at it, I'm thinking, what does it even mean? And then I just did a couple of transactions. I think one of the things I even did first was saving an address, adding an address to my address book. And then after that, I just told the AI swap I think it was, I swapped stack for brother and I said swap brother for this, and then it just went straight. And I'm like, oh, wow. And again, one thing I find also very remarkable about it is the UI is very simple. Like the instruction is there, especially on the AI part, because I'm thinking, okay, how do I do this? So there's also on the screen a direction, maybe an example on how you can just type swap this for this, and it works perfectly. And I find those things very, 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 very remarkable. Also, you've mentioned about the auto payment, which I think is, it's something that you don't find on Web3. I don't think I've come across a platform on Web3 that automates payments in the way that you do it. And because of teams, especially because you pointed it out, I'm imagining teams that want to make payments every month to their staff. It makes it easy when you have these things automated. It kind of helps streamline, what would you say, activities, and makes it even simpler for people. I think where I would want you to throw a little bit more light will be on the multi-owner, multi-sig function there. How does that particular feature work?
For that, maybe you'll find that it's only MetaMask support, right?
Yeah.
That's one that's one thing we want to solve, is because this is a bit more technical side. Is for the multi-sig, we are actually using the Argent contract. So we found that Argent contract, they support different signer type and all those things, and we found that, oh, there's an support type for MetaMask, so that now you can like use your MetaMask address, you add your address, and you can create a multi-sig that is using your MetaMask signer to sign for the transaction. And this transaction will be submitted on behalf of the multi-sig. But why it's not supporting Argent and Bravos is because of technical challenges, where we try to implement this using Argent contract outside execution, but we face some issue, like some signature issue. It's not validating, and so for this is still pending. But this is something we want to carry out, because even though Argent and Bravos have their multi-sig and it's very safe, it's very good, but just in extension it's a very small screen, and you can't really integrate many things into extension, and it's gonna become very heavy. That's why we move this out, and we try to have a place, have like a safe and squad, safe on EVM and squad on Solana, to have a consistent place for your multi-sig. And that's why we also aiming for team. But for this is currently it's a bit delayed because of technical challenges, but we are talking with Argent. So maybe in the near future we can have Argent support first, and maybe later it's Bravos. But this multi-sig is something we really want, because as I mentioned, it's for teams. So usually teams, we use Slack, and with this kind of services we can combine to our backend. So let's say if someone create a new transaction, we can have a backend service that send a message to your Slack, which is not doable in extension. That's why that's how the multi-sig part will work. But for now, it's not supporting Argent and Bravos.
Great. I mean, it's still, I understand it's still a work in progress. So we'll keep updated. We'll keep following to see how that progresses. The batching transactions, when we talk about batch transactions, I know this is something that is very unique when it comes to Starknet, but how do you implement it in this platform? How can users or people that are going to use this platform, how do they implement it into their daily activities?
For batch transaction, is basically, it's very simple, because thanks to Starknet account extraction. So how can people utilize this batch transaction? It's simple. It's just, for now it's supporting send and swap, but in the future we can support more protocols. So I like to use this employer example, because that's inspired from us. So for now we use it as sending to our employee. Like, we have address book, we can import our address book, and then there's two ways you can do a batch transaction in Q3x. One is using the AI assistant, which is how we do for sending employee. Like we have a CSV, we copy everything. The CSV have the name and also amount. We just paste it to the AI assistant. One click, wait for a while, and this AI assistant will give you a list of transactions, sending maybe 1.2K stock to someone else. A list. You click sign, your wallet pull out, and you just do your 2FA one time. That's one way of you can do a batch transaction in Q3x. Another way is just go to the send and then you add to a new batch, and then go to a swap and add to a new batch. But this will relate to our next move actually, because in Q3x, send and swap is very restricted. Like no one want to just do send and swap in a batch transaction, which is related to our next move is carry out a SDK. So what this SDK done is this SDK will be used by other protocol to integrate into their code base. And by integrating this SDK, you will be able to see Q3x when you are choosing your wallet. Like let's imagine you go AVNU, you connect wallet, you see Argent, you see Bravos, and there's another one is Q3x. And how this works is when you choose Q3x, there's kind of like a code pairing process between Q3x platform and also AVNU. I use AVNU as example in this case. So after connecting on AVNU and Q3x, the transactions happening on AVNU will not be executed directly, but instead it will be added to the Q3x batch transaction. So why this will be helpful is it opens the opportunity for integration. And imagine one case is without this SDK, you don't have any access to that transaction. What you do is maybe you go AVNU, you do a swap, and maybe you want to go to Vesu and you want to like do some stake. So this is two steps, and you do 2 times of these 2FA and 3FA. So imagine that if they integrating this, you go to AVNU, you do a swap, this add to the batch transaction. You go Vesu and same, you connect to Q3x and you execute. This same go to the batch and you sign it there just one time. So just 2 transactions might not be very useful because you can still do it very quickly. But when things go many, when you scale, it's kind of like saving your time because gas is not a problem on Starknet. It's very cheap.
Okay.
So
one of the things I captured when you talked about, like when you're trying to make transactions, let's say on AVNU, but you're having to go through Q3x and it's going to have to batch it with transactions on Q3x. I'm thinking about, is there any delay implication to it? Like, is it going to delay transactions in any form? Are there any negative sides to it?
Not really. Is because actually when you connect to this SDK and you do a transaction, there's nothing happen on chain. You just some backend work that send this core data to Q3x server and we just show it there. So there's no there's no on-chain activity in this process.
Oh, great.
It's kind of similar to Safe, how Safe work, because this is inspired by Safe.
Great. Agreed. Another thing I wanted to touch on is the security aspect of it, because, like one of the things that I've had conversations over my last couple of conversations with people on the show is so much emphasis on security. People that are connecting their wallets on Q3x, what's the guarantee for safety on the platform?
For wallet safety, to be honest, there's no worries on safety because for the AI, the badge, every feature doesn't ask for your private key, and all of your accounts is generated from your agent. So as long as agent and Bravos is safe, you are safe.
Oh, great. You mentioned on the website there's a mention of Paymaster integration into Q3x. How is that integration and what aspect of it does it cover?
For this, we are not doing the same way as Focus 3 where they sponsor gas fee. For us, we doesn't sponsor gas fee, but it just for user experience that allow you to pay for your transaction in ERC20. So because there's some consideration with the MetaMask integration is because that if you notice, you can use your MetaMask. You can connect your MetaMask on Q3x also. And when you do a MetaMask connect, there's a deploy process, which is where we deploy an agent account for your MetaMask. So when your MetaMask is signing transaction, your MetaMask will pop out and you sign from your MetaMask. There's no private key generation in this process. And this signature will be submitted on behalf of the agent contract we created. And because of this, the created agent contract need to have some tokens. And for now, it's only using ETH. But it's very bad if you need to fund your account with ETH just to do some transaction when you're using MetaMask. So that's why we have AVNU Paymaster. You can just send some Stark to this or send some USDC, USDT, and you can just use the Paymaster service to do a transaction. And also for me, I don't like to use Stark and ETH. Sometimes I like to use my USDC or something else. I can just use Paymaster. It's kind of very good on improving user experience. That's why we integrate this. And thanks to AVNU SDK, it's very easy to integrate this.
I also think that was one of the most remarkable things that AVNU have done in the Starknet ecosystem, this whole idea of Paymaster. I have a couple of people that have been on the show that have also talked about this integration. And Focus Tree is a good example of how this is working. But yeah, like it's good that this we're having to explore this what would you say, these avenues in terms of what we can build and how it's going to aid user experience on the platform. Are there any features that we should be expecting coming in? I was thinking in my head, just playing around the website, can we have a situation where we can access liquidity pools that
yeah, it's totally possible. Is basically our next move is kind of like start integrating with existing DeFi protocols, because it's very restricted if you just do everything by yourself without opening integration. So that's why I mentioned earlier that the next move will be SDK that allow other protocol to kind of like integrate this SDK and doing the batch transaction. And also we will kind of carry out more tools from the AI assistant. For now, the AI assistant is very restricted. It's just supporting send, swap, querying your balance and some blockchain information. But because of we build the AI assistant ourselves, we have full control. So we doesn't rely on any third-party services to wait them to carry out more service. So we can add anything like Vesu, what else? Any protocol. We can just add it and have it on our AI assistant. But to know which protocol we want to integrate first, it depends on the user feedback, because we want to make the things that user want the most first, not us. So that's why we also have kind of like a feedback from on our Twitter account, because we want to do something for the community.
Great. Do you know how many people that's gotten on the platform at this point?
For now, it's around 350.
Oh, wow. Great. Yeah, sure. So, this is one of the questions I throw all the time. Why did you choose Starknet to build them?
Yeah. The answer is very simple, right? There's many reasons. Is first, Starknet, very strong stack and technical side. I believe in the future they will be the first one, the leading L2. The second is they're the first one decentralized L2. This is the one that I love the most. The third one is scaling Bitcoin. It's a very crazy.
Yeah.
It's very crazy for me. So it's scaling Bitcoin. The fourth is account abstraction, which is very, very important for user experience. And I also believe that account abstraction and also smart wallet account is the future in Web3, because that day I go back to EVM chance, I do transaction, You cannot do that. I cannot do that. Sign one by one. And this is the 4-point account abstraction. The 5 is super cheap. It's cheap and fast. And for us, Q3x, sometimes we just develop on mainnet, and it's very cheap. It's like signing transaction like nothing. It's not happening on other chain. This is the 5 points, and I think for now I can think about these 5 points. And I love Starknet, so that's why we choose to start on Starknet. It's very cool. It's very good for user experience. Those things cheap, which is the best place I think for everyone to start on Starknet.
Yeah. I agree with you too. I say this thing, once you use Starknet, you can't go back to any other programming language. I started out, a couple of years ago, I started out with Solidity. I dropped Solidity, I think that was midway 2023. And I can't remember the last time I did anything on Solidity because it's been Starknet all the way, just because of some of the things you mentioned. And of course, transaction on Starknet is way, way cheaper than any other platform out there, L2 platform out there. And I'm just thinking with the introduction of Stu coming very soon, it's even going to be 100x more efficient, cheaper, faster. And I just agree with what you said with them in terms of choosing Starknet. I think it's just the best place to be at the moment, which leads me to the next question, because I'm looking, you started with Solidity. How was transitioning from Solidity to Cairo? How was it for you?
For me, the beginning is pretty tough because I don't have any Rust experience previously, and when the first time I touched Cairo, I was a bit depressed. Like, what is this trade? Why is this not passing? And then at that moment, I stopped Cairo and I go to Rust. And I read a few books, I do some Rust. Only then I start Cairo again, read through the Cairo book. And there's also a very good tool on GitHub. I remember the name is Starknet or something like that's kind of like interactive practice.
Starknet.
And then and then I just do that slowly. Now it's very comfortable when you ask me to write Cairo, but it's not the day. It's not like the first day, and because very early the Cairo extension is kind of like I would say it's a bit bad. Like the VS Code extension loading, it can't give me some syntax highlight something. But now it's very good. And also thanks to Scaffold Start, set up a lot of things for Starknet development, deploy, contract interaction, everything. Without Scaffold Start, I don't think I can have a smooth experience on Starknet. And I also have a few friends that previously we attend Hacker House. They have no Starknet experience, so they just use this Scaffold Start, and we can quick launch an MVP in 2 days. Like, without Scaffold Start, we cannot do this. So I also have a huge thanks to Scaffold Start onboarding me.
That's great. Really, really, really great. Thank you so much for joining us today. But before we round up, are there anything that we should be expecting from Q3x in the immediate future?
The next features, the first one that we want to carry out is the SDK, and the second one is we want to carry out a second module, because I mentioned the modular, like a Lego block. You can customize everything, but with just one module, you can't really experience that feeling. So there's three priority for us now. First one is the SDK, open for integration. Second is the modules. You really feel the feeling of modular architecture design. The third one is we want to carry out more tools in the AI assistant. But for that, because there's many options, like you can integrate, there's too much protocols on Starknet. So it really depends on what user want, and then we can carry out that as soon as possible for AI assistant.
Oh, good. Thank you so much, Ju Peng, for joining us today. I don't know if there's something else you'd like to let our audience know that we haven't touched yet.
Yeah. We just for now we need more users because for now we didn't get too much valuable feedback, and everything is based on feedback. We want to improve this. We want to make this for what user want, not what we want. That's why we need to onboard, get more user first, so that we can decide our next move very good. Like, imagine one day we carry out something that no one want, then it's wasted of time and resources. So we really appreciate those feedback, and we also giving away for premium access for feedback.
Oh, great, great. Well, I'll make sure I get a lot of people within my space to try it out soon. But from my experience, I think it's something remarkable that you guys are doing. It's something that I would like to use, especially the auto payments. I like the idea of using AIs to do, use instructions, natural language to just carry out transactions and stuff like that. So for me, it's interesting. I think it's going to sell out there. I think more marketing needs to be done. But yeah, I think you guys it's a remarkable platform that you guys have there. So thank you so much, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Uchi, for inviting me to Starknet Espresso. It's my honor to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
What an amazing episode. Thank you for tuning in to Starknet Espresso. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay Starknet and bye for now.